What are some harmless ways to fuck with people? Buy a set of voice-activated or motion-activated stickers from Amazon, and the possibilities are endless. When you shake someone's hand, move yours left to right. As they do the traditional up and down, a hilarious circle ensues. If I know someone is walking a little ways behind me and I turn a corner with nobody else around, I like to run 10-20 steps to widen the gap and then laugh to myself, thinking that the person behind me will be confused. I doubt anyone ever notices, but I get a kick out of it every time. The movie theater in my town is usually mostly empty. There's been a couple of times when I've come in to get seated and there's literally only one other person in my auditorium. There's an evil part of me that wants to just go sit right next to them. Not illegal, but it should be. Carefully step over a non-existing obstacle. Keep correcting them on the pronunciation of your name, even when they are saying it correctly every time. I put a tiny piece of masking tape over my co-worker's mouse laser on April Fool's Day one year, wrote April Fools on it. He troubleshot every single thing except examining the mouse. He eventually called IT, who simply turned the mouse over and pointed it out to him. I mess with colleagues during meetings by controlling how they sit. You copy everything they do to start, they lean back, you lean back, etc. Then, slowly, take the lead. If they are sitting back, sit forwards. I have managed to start mini Mexican waves of people moving back and forth in meetings. Don't turn around when you walk into a lift. I'm a huge fan of just handing somebody something without any explanation and walking away. Whenever I visit my extended family across the country, I bring a bag full of random remotes that I don't use anymore. Just random remotes that go to old DVRs or anything really. Just hide them around their house. They only recently caught on. I'm British, living in Poland. Whenever I'm in the city, I always stop and help people holding maps, because there's really not much support for tourists and I want to give other visitors a good impression. However, I usually talk to them in a really thick, fake Slavic accent, but segue into my plummy English accent over the course of the conversation. If they ever comment on how good my English is, I lapse straight back into the fake Polish one and thank very much for nice words. I try do my best, but it's hard. You know? My friend was logged into his Twitter on my tablet, so I kept changing his profile picture to a banana. He thought someone hacked him and tweeted about it. I replied to the tweet using his profile. It got so bad he was arguing with himself on Twitter. Ask, what was your or your wife's husband's sister's etc. name again? After they answer, I shake my head and say, no. That's not it. It works best if you are standing, but use your judgment. Gradually lower the volume of your voice. Others will match your volume and they tend to move closer. Wait for your moment and just start speaking in a normal or slightly louder than normal voice. I know someone who always takes an item to a party, leaves it somewhere in the house, a trinket tchotchka. Every other week or so I'd change which side my coworker's drill's belt clip was on, 2 screws and 30 seconds for a maddening payout. I'd if he ever caught on, as he sadly passed away last year. I got a huge kick out of doing it though. Might bring that one back as most of us share the same brand of drill. He got a great one on me. Every day or two he'd hide a Magic the Gathering card in my toolbox, never the same spot twice. Genuinely made me mad when I pick something up only to see another card hidden beneath. Eventually I had enough cards to completely cover his locker door inner and outer. He never took them off. Even cut out cards to fit the vents on the locker. I spent a good hour or two on my day off making it. Proud of that one. R.I.P. Chris. Pranks haven't been the same since you left. Your locker still remains covered in Magic cards and nobody has questioned it to this day. After giving a compliment, say no offense and watch them struggle to find the non-existent insult. When driving I like to wave at random people as if I knew them. Hilarious to see instant confusion on their faces. Oh man, do I have a story. In my freshman year of college, my roommate was a very neat and orderly person. He had every pencil in place, every paper had a folder, and his things got neatly packed away. We were pretty amicable towards one another, even with my messy living. At first, when he would leave for classes, I would admire how tidy his desk was and thought to myself I should fuck with that. For the whole year we lived together I would sneak used staples everywhere on his stuff. Homework folder? Staple. Pencil case? Staple. Backpack? Staple. Shower caddy? You bet that pube-infested bar of soap got a staple on it. Hell, even the TV remote got a staple in it between the batteries, so when they died he would eventually find another. I did it often but was careful to space the staple events far enough apart to not raise suspicion on myself. I further protected myself by making a huge deal of having to borrow the across-the-hall neighbor's stapler whenever I needed to bind papers together. About March of our second semester he had become insanely suspicious of anybody with a stapler and watched them like a hawk. The straw that broke the camel's back. I had asked him one night what his plans were under the guise of having a companion over for a visit. He said after dinner he had to go check out some obscure book at the library. When he left and headed to the dining hall, I snuck off to the library, found the obscure book he needed, and clicked a staple into it. He gets back to the dorm room and I'm doing homework in the same spot when he had left an hour earlier, claiming the meetup didn't end up happening. He sits down at his desk and opens up his newly rendered book and I hear that staple fall out onto his desk. All I hear after that is, yo, where the fuck all these goddamn staples coming from? I revealed myself after graduation when I mailed him a birthday card with a used staple in it. Thankfully he got the biggest kick out of the card and we still talk daily. TLDR, I put used staples in, on, and around my roommate's things. I saw someone on Facebook comment on a picture that the three of you look great. There were 4 people in the picture, looking at a non-reflective surface and doing stuff like fixing your hair and checking if there's something in your teeth. My mother-in-law is meticulous about her home decor. One day, we come over and she out of the blue asks if we have been flipping one of her decorations on its side every time we visit eat. We were puzzled until our 6-year-old started cracking up. The little monster had been switching it for months. Everyone got a good laugh out of it. This one is harmless but occasionally can drive someone mad. My mom has a bunch of framed family photos hanging on a wall. One day I was visiting, I took them all down and scanned them with a little hand scanner. I photoshopped small changes on them, removed some people from some photos, added a couple of celebrities in the background, etc., print them out and replaced them a few days later. I can't forget her face when she realized it was me and she was not losing it. When you're talking to someone, just keep handing them random items. They'll just keep taking them without realizing it. One time I called my friend who had just dropped me off on my cell phone and told her that I had forgotten my cell phone in her car. She hung up, turned around and called me on my cell phone when she pulled in the driveway. I came out while talking on the phone with her and when she saw the grin on my face it all clicked. I honestly didn't even think it would work, but I'm really glad it did. When having a conversation during a meal, specifically only ask questions to people that are chewing. ETA, I was never a server, but had this taught to me by a dear friend of mine years ago when we used to eat in a public cafeteria and mess with people we just met. When at work, tell someone I'm going to the bathroom, do you need anything? My grandpa does this thing where he stops in the busy street and starts staring into the sky as if he's seen something amazing. It doesn't take long for other people to stop and stare too. Once he's reaches critical mass he quietly slips away chuckling to himself. Edit. He's in his 90s now, but when he was a teenager he was a bit of a young tearaway and had a pet monkey, which is weird considering this was the UK. Edit 2. Holy crap, this blew up overnight. And on my cake day too. While going up the chairlift at a ski resort, my friend and I would call out to someone under the chairlift, call them a random name and yell, "We'll wait for you at the top." Usually the person would spend time trying to explain to us they weren't who we thought they were. We'd act like we couldn't hear them and insist we'd wait for them at the top. Say no pun intended after a sentence where there was clearly no pun. God, I love this post. When someone is talking to them, look right over top of their head. Keep the conversation going but look right over them. My neighbor got an expensive new camera for his front door. Randomly, for the last several months, I have covered myself in a black cloak including face, crawled up into camera view, and left a random harmless object. A carrot, spool of thread, 3 ink pens with the caps mixed up, dumb meaningless things. On camera, a dark shape appears and disappears leaving a random object behind. It is driving his silly ass crazy. Say high five to someone, but don't put your hand up.
I hope you all are doing well, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed this video. If you have something to say critically or otherwise, leave a comment. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to subscribe to see more of it. I hope you all have wonderful and fulfilled lives.